Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Path of Exile. We are playing the Hardcore Breach League as a solo self-found summoner of things. And more we are summoning caustic clouds with the death or expiration of our minions. Beacon of Corruption is our thing. We find ourselves on the western side of the Act 2 town in Merciless. And we're making pretty good progress. Last episode, we cleared out the Chamber of Sins and we killed Kraton. After the episode, I took care of the Crypt and its trial. There was nothing too notable about that, with the exception, of course, that the trial, well, they are tricky. Death by stupidity is your biggest risk with this build, it seems like. So, even if you are feeling like you are playing in the God tier, that no monster can touch you, be wary of the traps in the trial, because they hurt. Especially if you try to run alongside those things that try to skewer you, because they will, and it hurts. We are, of course, still level 68. This is a level 60 area, so in terms of power level, we should be doing pretty well. So we can make pretty good speed here. Just gonna run around, and if there's large concentrations of enemies, then we'll take them out, but at this point there's no real reason to kill every single blood ape in this forest, simply because it's just not worth it. Larger groups like this, however, well, it works. There's so many little enemies about that are getting killed that using your Val summon skeletons in order to speed up the process of dealing with all these little critters, it does work. And it recharges rather quickly as well. Most of the time the Val skills, I tend to use them at bosses. Now that we have breaches, I also use them quite a lot in breaches. And actually I think my usage of Val summon skeletons has gone up due to breaches compared to other playthroughs. Hello, you just fell out of the sky. Let's see, there is our waypoint. And there's a couple more monkeys. And some snakes on the other side. So we'll just throw some skeletons against the snakes. If anything truly important drops, then we should hear it. Loot filter will notify me of currency drops and things like that. Everything else, don't really care. Oh, there's devourers here. Go guest monsters. This looks like it's rather crowded as well. Good thing is though, if we intentionally try to summon caustic cloud from our more powerful monsters, or our more powerful minions I should say, that works rather well. Golem is always a really nice one, because you don't need any additional corpses for that. But zombies and spectres are also pretty good to recast mid-combat. That's where Desecrate comes in as well. But a lot of enemies here have the habit of just killing themselves. Suicide commandos. You'll find that if you're raising spectres, they might be the suicidal guys as well. So they'll just split themselves. Which of course for our purposes is not a bad idea, because they will still cause... Hey, concealed blood, that's a prophecy, isn't it? Or just a random chance? No, that was probably a Bloodlines mod. Doesn't happen all that often. Hello, Devourer. Goodbye, Devourer. So one of the advantages of having lots and lots of minions is of course that the suicide commandos, they will get body blocks most of the time. So there's not a lot that will actually make it to you. Massive Shrine, we are now larger and look at the size of our Wither. We'll just run along, say hello to Alira, outcompete her.
I caught some rats.
And we kill her. So we'll just summon our army. Let's see if we can just re-summon some minions here. And she's dead. We got a strapped ladder.
Never let the power go to you.
Wrist grab, pip. Nothing too exciting. But that is 2 out of 3 bandits taken care of. Also, we got a suicide minion again. Password channeling slowly keeps ticking up. We're now down to 0.37 seconds between recasts of our skeletons and our raging spirits. At this point they're still in the 4 link, so they are not benefiting from any increases to minion life or damage. They're a bit on the weaker side, but the way I see it, they still do some damage, and the skeletons, they still provide us with lots and lots of bodies to just block the enemies. So all in all, it's okay. They're not meant to be the single skill that kills everything. And 12 skeletons is nothing to sneeze at. Once we get a 5 link, of course, we'll boost the damage output by maybe 40%, 50%. It's a more modifier, the minion damage, so that is definitely a nice gem to link. Because it also translates over to the caustic cloud that they cover, that they cause, I mean. So that is rather useful. Let's see, Alira was on the right hand side, so spiders are going to be on the other side, which is where we are now. Also lots of suicide commandos here. Fine guys. Blow your load and get out of the way. And I see purple sweaties. Yeah. Hello, Breach. Let's resummon our minions here. Okay, this looks like Ash with the lightning. Resummoning our golem, just resummoning a couple of Spectres, and we'll just channel. It's an interesting balance to strike between summoning more minions and just continuing to channel. Especially in a very chaotic situation like this. Oh, glass band. Yes, actually got one. Another one. And that was done. So, we'll just pick everything up and we're out of space. So, let's quickly empty our pockets and then move on. Now that I've got Haku at level 6, or no, Elrion at level 6. Oh. He, of course, offers the recipe to exchange 32 orbs of alteration for, what was it, 10 jeweler's orbs? At least it's a more efficient trade from alterations to jeweler's orb, because normally I think they are 4 or 2. Then it's probably 32 for 20. At least you get a pretty good deal, but I have been guzzling through most of my orbs of alteration. And of course, orbs of alteration, you generate them by selling identified rares. Well, also works for blues, but they give you a lot less shards. It's less efficient, and that's why I tend to ignore them at a certain point in the game. Which is very, very personal. That's usually by the time you leave, like Act 1 normal. That's usually when you've got all blue gear and you're just looking for rares. Maybe Act 2. A lot of stuff around here. Let's just summon the Army of the Damned. Okay. And we move on. Itsy bitsy Spidey. We should go back to Bestel. Ooh, ghost. Another ghost? No, the same ghost. Not another ghost. I still have to get the achievement for killing something that's been possessed by 2 ghosts. Okay, I'm in too deep now. So, okay, at least we've re-summoned our minions as spiders, which is good. Okay. Ghosts, I'm never really good with them. Such an element of luck to them. It's I don't know. I was gonna say maybe it's like strong boxes, but with strong boxes you tend to have less variance. And of course strong boxes don't run away. Which no, ghosts do. That makes them annoying. I'm currently trying to advance faster than my convocation can keep up with. Maybe it's a sign I need to slow down a little bit. Summon the Army of the Damned here. Take care of this area here. Revive all other minions. It's a reasonable way. And currency dropped. There. So there's a couple of things that if you're playing solo self-found to keep in mind. There are recipes for generating most types of currencies. And those are recipes that I never really used a lot. Until now actually, that I never really considered. When it comes to gems, I'm a bit of a hoarder. I just like to collect all the things and I'm not really gonna get rid of my gems. But in my stash tab I always have this try to sort things. So I've got a tab for red gems, one for blue gems, one for green gems. And I always have a purple tab because it's just for other stuff. And I put all my quality gems and my Val gems in there. And let's do the breach first before we go for the Spider Queen. But there's a lot of gems that you will not be using in a league for your builds. For example, a Val Glacial Hammer might be a fine skill, but I really couldn't care less about it. Something interesting dropped somewhere. Well, if you sell 40% quality worth of skill gems, you get yourself a Gem Cutter's Prism. Normally, I would say that's a waste, because, well, you could use those gems to, well, in future builds, you got a decent start if you have a quality gem. Things like that. The web dropped. Well, of course, if you're playing solo self-found, then no, I'm gonna do maybe one, maybe two builds this league. And if this character happens to die, I'll probably do a rebuild if I have the time and opportunity, rather than doing something completely different. So that way, you know, you're focusing. Also means that you can eliminate a lot of stuff. So all the melee stuff, all the gems with the melee gems with quality on them, all the Val melee gems, you can use them for vendor recipes. So one of them is if you just sell 40% worth of quality of gems, you get a gem cutter's prism, similar to how it works for armor and flasks and weapons and things like that. But there's another one. If you sell 7 Vaal gems along with a Vaal map fragment, you get yourself a Vaal orb, which is also one of the things that you need to get an achievement. So, and the Orbs of Chance, if you have 2 rares with the same name, you get an Orb of Chance for that. And those really useless bridge rings, they are unique rings, or rare rings, that keep generating. And if you get enough of them, say 20, 30, 40, at some point, you're gonna get a name clash. So that's actually what I did. I just grabbed all my Vaal, all my bridge rings, which nearly filled up my inventory. I think I came to about here from the top left. So I came to about here, and I just started throwing all of them into the vendor. And at some point, an Orb of Chance appears, and then you know that the last gem you added, or the last ring you added to the sale tab, is the one that had a double name. So you just keep that one, and then you just start removing all the other ones again. Until you see the same name, or until you notice the thing disappear, depends on what you find easier. But that's a way to get those achievements going. Oh, hello energy shield. Oh wait, this is not a lot of energy shield. Also, there is no chaos resist on here, so whoa. Also, why am I identifying stuff that's above level 60? Because of course we are now finding level 60 and higher items, which means we can benefit from the Chaos Orb recipe. Chaos Orb recipe. Sell yourself, you want to sell items basically to fill every slot here. So an easy thing to do is to just get 200 weapons, because they account for those. Then get yourself, you can also go for one-handed weapons like foils or things like that, but then you just gotta pick up more. Body armor, a helmet, boots, gloves, a single amulet, 2 rings and a belt. The jewelry is most of the time, the jewelry is the hardest to find. You're burning through 2 rings at a time in order to get 2 chaos orbs. If you sell everything unidentified, that is, and they need to be item level 60 or higher. But it is a way to generate yourself a chaos orbs without having to strictly rely on finding them. Okay, so this is level 60, but it's also... So here we have 6 sockets. We're not going to invest a boatload of currency to get this to 6 sockets, so we might as well just use it for the chaos recipe. And I figured once we start overflowing, then I'll take the things out that are relevant. So this spider silk rope, necromancer silks. Actually, might as well take them out now. There's plenty of stuff here, and we can just ID them and see if they are useful or not. +6 to maximum energy shield. That's a really bad roll. 20 chaos resistance has potential, but everything else is just rubbish. So this is just gonna be fodder to generate ourselves more alteration shards.
Return if you must.
Okay, so let's have a chat with Bestel. Get ourselves a skill point, and then we're gonna move onwards. We are gonna take out Oak. He's not gonna be our friend, but we want that skill point. Yes, skill points are life. We need 3 more to max out the Sign and Life Wheel. After that, we're gonna grab Foresight over here, and after that, I'll actually need to check my skill tree to see what I exactly had in mind. Because there's a couple of options and I'm not quite sure what I was gonna go for next. At some point we will probably want to grab a Zealot's Oath and get ourselves some energy shield regeneration rather than life regeneration, because our energy shield pool is pretty darn good. And it's very rare that we actually drop down to life. So if we convert our life regen to energy shield regen, then we have an active regenerating on our energy shield, which is gonna make it sustain even better than it already does. It's gonna be a very nice supplement. Wow, you seem very shady. It's almost like he's got some kind of unholy strength thing going on or something. Hey, let's have a look. Most of the time the waypoint is tied somewhere to the left hand side of the map. Just stick to the walls. At some point you're gonna find the waypoint. Okay, let's see. I think we're gonna throw the army of the damned at it just because there's a lot of things going on here. Bunch of blues, there's a couple of yellows over there. That's it. So because we're not using any charges on this build, we are just simply gonna kill all the bandits and get ourselves a skill point. You could consider using a Enduring Try to get yourself some endurance charges. Thing is, of course, though, that is tied to a taunt mechanic, so that suddenly gets you all the attention of the monsters, which is something I personally really don't want. Right, so let's resummon our golem. Right, I think I want to get out of there. I'm just really uncomfortable with all the attention here. Last hands. Okay. Well, here we do encounter the biggest downside of this build. It's really difficult to deal with specific targets when you're being surrounded by so many enemies. But the giant had a bunch of life. And well, he really was not going down quickly. Also, I noticed that most of the mobs, or most of the minions, seem to get frozen there. There are Val skeletons, some skeletons. So things are still leveling up. Let's empty our pockets and then grab up all the other stuff. Oh, what was this? Was this actually a useful one? 33 fire resistance. And 53 to life, and some regen and evasion. I think this is one of the least bad ones I've seen so far, but I wouldn't go as far as calling it good. I really think that the breach rings, they're interesting mechanic, but so far in terms of execution, they've all been so rubbish that I don't think they are worth it. And I checked, there doesn't seem to be a recipe tied to selling corrupted items or something, so you can't even use them to generate Val orbs. Which is actually something I was hoping for. Similarly to how you got the recipe for selling 7 Val gems and a map fragment. It was something like that for selling like 7 corrupted items with a map fragment, or just simply 7 corrupted items to get a Val orb. That could actually make those rings useful, rather than just keeping them in a tab in your stash, just for the sake of keeping them. Because as you might have noticed, I tend to hoard items. Because you never know when you're gonna need something. Especially if you like to play quirky builds, things like that, and if you're not really all that fond of trading, then being self-reliant and just saving all the stuff that could potentially be interesting at some point in the future. Well, let's just say that I do like to get more stash tabs. And Oak is not getting any more stash tabs in his future. So we'll simply throw the army of the damned at him. And then we'll just desecrate some corpses. Resummoner, golem. Yeah. Your mana orb starts to drain when you chaincast Spectres.
Avaricious little despots like you.
That's of course because most of the time you don't really need a lot of mana to chaincast a Wither. It's a really efficient spell. Okay, so that takes care of our bandit problem. So I think we're gonna run around here for a little bit. We'll see if we can find maybe another breach. Ding to 69. And then have a chat with Eramir in town and get ourselves another skill point. Goes quickly enough. And then those 2 skill points should get us another 10% increased life. Then we have 1 more point remaining that we need to get. And then Sign Live View has been completed, and that means that most of the easily accessible life has been obtained. There's a couple more points. Once we assign our skill points, we'll have a bit of a look at the options. So it's gonna be in a couple more minutes. Some blues here. Stuff coming out of tents, that helps. Just regenerating sources of experience. And if you're chain casting minions, always remember to just sip your mana flask, because otherwise the chain casting of minions is gonna stop rather quickly. Also, it seems like we are running out of enemies before we hit our level, which is rather unfortunate. So, it was a nice idea, but then we'll just ding next time. We'll see about that. So, we are getting the apex, just all 3 amulets shoved together, and we get a skill point, so that works as well. So, it's gonna be life, so next 2 points are gonna go into those lives, then the next 2 are gonna go into foresight. Then there's a couple of things, and I'm doing this off the top of my head. There's a dual socket here with some life regen leading to it, which is useful, especially once we go for Zealot's Oath. The life regen over here will help us regenerate more life. We already got Shaper. We already got Quick Recovery, that's 1.8% life regenerated per second. We have Sanctity, which is another 1%. Over here we got another 1.2%, ending with another life and mana node, so this is not a bad one to go for in combination with Zealot's Oath. Of course, we got Potency of Will, gets us increased skill effect duration, which is gonna make the debuff from Wither last longer. It's gonna, I think it's gonna make curses last longer. Not entirely sure. Curses tend to be a special case, but for now let's say curses, but that's not really the point. Skeletons still walk around longer, and these things, Raging Spirits, they will last longer as well. So the 5 seconds, 45% increased duration, gets them up to about 7.4 seconds. Which of course means that you'll be able to keep more of them running at the same time. Let's see, in addition, we have, over here, we have Purity of Flesh, which is located across Zealot's Oath. So, no, we go over here, spend 3 points, grab Zealot's Oath. Then the next 4 points, grab Purity of Flesh. Interestingly, there is, oh no wait, this is not the one with a regen, that's the Arsonist I'm confused with. But, as I said, there's a bunch of things. Of course, over here we got Mind Barrier. There's a 7% block chance with a spell block with shields. And 40% increased energy shield from your shield. Which is going to give us about 40 to 50 energy shield base. Which is going to get amplified by the bonuses to energy shields that we've got. And silently, we have been stacking energy shield. There's a lot of energy shield bonuses that we grab here. Also the dual nodes. They help a lot. So our energy shield bonus is pretty darn good. So 50 points in the energy shield. It's gonna get you maybe 150 or more energy shield on your energy shield bulb. Ah yes. Besides all the things in the Templar area, we still have written in blood over here for life and energy shield. Over here you get essence surge, which is useful. Make your energy shield recharge faster. But oh, if you're already going for Zealot's Oath, then you got some passive regen. And especially with life as a backing, there's not a really strong push for essence surge. It's nice, but there's not a strict requirement, which it would be if you're going with chaos inoculation, because then of course you don't have anything to fall back on. Of course there's another jewel socket over here, there's another jewel socket over there. So there's plenty of options that's with this build that we can go for. And most of the time, I tend to plan the build in stages. So the first stage was to just get all the minion nodes and the life and energy shield on the way there. Next stage, before maps, basically was to complete the sign life wheel, get foresight over here, because this is really efficient. It's 2 points for 20% increased maximum energy shield, which is rather good. And of course, extra points you can always spend on energy shield here if you so desire. But I'm getting to the point where I would like to get Zealot's Oath. Life regen from our stone golem is also going to be added to it. So it's gonna stack, and it's gonna help our energy shield just stay topped up that much better. But as I said, it's gonna be another 5 or 6 levels before we even have to look beyond our current short-term goals. And I don't think we're gonna really stretch much beyond that before we hit maps. So it's gonna be good. It's all gonna be good. But for now, we have reached the end of an episode. So as always, I'm gonna thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.